Hello, this is Bill Steffen, along with a couple of my cats that are wandering around here. This is the best chance we have of seeing some rain this week, and there's some places that really need it, like the Holland area and Ottawa County. A quick salute to our Ottawa News Network listeners, viewers. Thanks so much for stopping on this area of my little corner of the internet here. Here's the severe threat for this Tuesday. Most of us are in the marginal risk, and if you were to draw a line from what looks like Montague to around Alpena or so. South of there is a marginal risk, and that's for very isolated wind damage and hail. There's a chance none of that will happen at all, as the wind fields here are pretty weak. And there's a second area that's up from Wisconsin up into the upper peninsula of Michigan, and a third little marginal area down there in southeast Arizona. You don't see that too often, but there'll be a couple of storms with gusty winds down there in southeast and eastern Arizona as well. Here's the severe threat for Wednesday afternoon and evening. And you can see it covers a good portion of the state of South Dakota and just slivers of North Dakota, Minnesota, and Nebraska. Again, there could be some marginal winds with some of the thunderstorms that are occurring there. And Michigan is white, so that means no storms at all here in our state for Wednesday. And that will be Thursday and Friday as well. Here's a look at our 66-hour rainfall, and this all comes here during the day today. And, it includes some of the rain falling overnight here as well. You can see it stretching out from Oklahoma all the way on up toward Michigan. And so for those of you, again, that need rain, I hope you see some here today. Let's zoom into Michigan here, and you can see that it's printing out up to an inch, maybe a little bit more than that in that yellow area southeast of Kalamazoo. Once again, less rain falling up toward the Grand Rapids area, and especially when you get over toward Muskegon, rainfall amounts more likely to be around 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, but we'll take whatever we get because we certainly need it around here. Driest summer ever so far for the Holland area and for a good portion of Ottawa County. Let's take a look at sunrise and sunset time. We continue to lose daylight at the rate of 2 to 3 minutes per day now. Our sunrise at 6:45 and the sunset at 8:48. You can watch the sun rising a little bit closer to due east each day and a little bit closer to due west, the sun setting during the evening. The average high temperature falls another one to 81. That was up at 83 in July. Record high temperature today, 95 and 88. And that was the other year we had a really bad drought. And one of the differences between this year and 88, the drought was widespread, where we had drought conditions over 20 states. And this year, of course, the drought's pretty much centered over Ottawa County, parts of Muskegon, Kent County, and Allegan County as well. Record low, 45 degrees. Here's a look at high temperatures for Monday. Ionia topping the list for a change at 91. There was a little bit more sunshine at Ionia and Mount Pleasant over in that area. Kalamazoo and Battle Creek at 89. They actually beat Grand Rapids at 87. Our winds turned a little bit more west off the lake in the afternoon, and that stopped the temperature rise. 85 in Big Rapids and at the Holland Airport. The Holland Beach, only 3 degrees cooler at 82. And the Muskegon Airport, 82. The Muskegon Beach at 78. And the Muskegon Pier at 77. We got the moon over there poking through the clouds. I can kind of see it out the window from time to time here. Interesting fact, you would weigh only about 1/6 of what you weigh if you went to the Earth, if you went to the moon, as opposed to what you would weigh on Earth. So if you weigh 100 pounds here on the Earth, you'd weigh about as much as my bowling ball on the moon. Big difference. The moon is what we call now waning gibbous. Gibbous means it's about 3/4 full. And waning means it is getting darker and darker. A little bit less of the moon is visible here each night. All right, on we go. We have a tropical update, and I don't know if you've heard this already, but we got a hurricane to talk about coming up here. First of all, the map on the left is the Western Atlantic. There are 3 yellow X's. I wouldn't worry about any of them. They won't amount to much. But look down in the lower right-hand corner and you see Tropical Storm Erin. That is going to become Hurricane Erin, and it's going to take a trek to the west and then northwest, and then it's going to make a curve and more than likely miss the United States. It will likely stay just barely to the west of Bermuda and also stay a little bit north of the Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. So hopefully the hurricane will follow that particular path, and if it does, it'll miss most land areas before it scoots off to the northeast and becomes just a windy, rainy, low-pressure system in northwest Europe. But Erin is still a week away from anywhere near the United States, so we'll have time to watch it as it continues to come off toward the west, and then it will turn northwest, and then it will turn north, and then it will turn northeast. This is the Western Pacific and Indian Oceans, and as you can see, we've got Podol, which is there where the arrow is, nothing going on in the Indian Ocean. Now let's go to the next slide, and I will be able to show you where Podol is going. If you look real close, you can see the island of Taiwan with Taipei to the north, big city up there. And what's going to happen is this storm is going to continue to move west-northwest in pretty much a straight line, crossing Taiwan and producing, it will probably be a significant hurricane as it does, so expect some damage and flooding in Taiwan, and then it will come into China, northeast of Hong Kong, and then by then it will just be a tropical storm, so probably not as much wind damage, but certainly some heavy rain as it comes into South China. Okay, our headlines. There'll be a chance of a shower or a thunderstorm at any time during the day today. I put the chance of rain at least 70%, a little more to the north, to the south, and a little bit more to the north. It will be sunny and dry for Wednesday afternoon through Friday, probably Saturday morning anyway. Slightly cooler starting on Wednesday here. We'll be back in the low to mid 80s for high temperatures. Here's a look at today's forecast. 85 degrees, 70 the low temperature early this morning, scattered showers and storms. Humidity falls to only about 60% here during the afternoon, and southwest winds around 10 to 15. Could get a little variable and gusty in some of the thunderstorms, but again, we're not anticipating any significant severe weather around here with any of this. A look at high temperatures on the day today. It will be slightly cooler at Lake Michigan, but not by much. We've got mid 80s for Grand Rapids and Holland Airport, 79 for South Haven, and 78 for Ludington. Really just slightly more comfortable than it was yesterday, but still a bit on the humid side. Up in the UP, we've got temperatures here in the upper 70s. And the outlook here for the day on Wednesday calls for temperatures to be in the low 80s for the most part. 76 for South Haven, should be a really comfortable, nice day there, and with lots of sunshine during the afternoon. Should be a good day. Traverse City a bit cooler at 76, and some of the cool temperatures up in the UP, only in the upper 60s there along the Lake Superior shoreline. And one more day to check out, and that is Saturday, and that's going to be the hottest day of the next 7-8 days or so. Up to 90 in Grand Rapids, Holland at 90, Muskegon at 87, Grand Haven 84. And that's going to be interesting because if there's a south wind, that does cross water coming to Muskegon, and it doesn't cross a whole lot of water coming to Grand Haven. So it's not out of the realm of possibility where this model here could be right, and it could actually be a couple degrees cooler in either Grand Haven or Muskegon there. And here's a look at 5 days, 60%, 70% chance of rain today. Wednesday, 20% early. That would probably be before about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Sunny and beautiful on Thursday, a nice day coming up on Friday, and then a chance of a shower thunderstorm late in the day Saturday, but again, it's only 30%. I would think that most areas here would likely stay dry. And hello, little kitty. How are you? Do you want to say hi? You're on my computer now, cat. Here, come here. Look at, we're going to move. Okay. I have lost my picture. I'm seeing, there I am. I was going to say I saw just a great big picture of me, and I don't know that you want to look at my head here, but thank you for the cameo appearance, Ellie Lou. Okay. All right. The 8 to 14 day outlook, we've had a slew of days above normal here, and that's turned out to be correct. For this summer, we're back in the near normal category here for the Great Lakes area here for August 19 to 25. And the heat builds back into the western United States. And the outlook here for precipitation calls for below average precipitation. So a lot of sunny, pleasant, comfortable days here to close out the month of August. You like it nice and mild, but not super hot. when the kids head back to school, especially for those kids that are practicing football and some of the other sports out there. Viewer comment. Hi, Bill. Love your show. I thought you would appreciate this. Well, I love comments like that. Timberline Lodge. Now, I believe that is in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. That is on Mount Hood, Timberline Lodge. If I got it right, snowboarding terrain parks closed today. They've been open since November 9th. Isn't that something? That's amazing. Thanks so much for passing that along, Tim. And a friend of mine, Charlie Vandermark, operates the Snowcat. No kidding. This is a screenshot of his Instagram story. Maybe we could link to a story if we could find it, but that's very interesting. Yeah, Timberline is the one resort that kind of stays open, and people will go, oh, you got a map. Super. Yeah, you see where Portland is right there? That's Mount Hood, which is not quite as tall as Mount Rainier, but has terrain that's more favorable for skiing and getting the snowboarding out. But that is really cool. Highest mountain in Oregon, fourth highest in the Cascades. So, wow, that's cool. Thank you, Tim, for sending that in. Amazing.
Okay, on this day, August 12, 1927, Charles Lindbergh himself paid a visit to Grand Rapids. And factories and banks closed down so that workers could line up to see him. And he flew in the spirit of St. Louis, the same plane that he flew to Paris. And he gave a speech at John Ball Park about the importance of aviation infrastructure in the United States. And it was part of a nationwide tour.
That's cool. What is hang on just a second here. Oh, one of my cats sees a moth by the window and trying desperately to get it. It's on the other side of the screen. That is really amazing. I did not know that either. This is some interesting information you got for us tonight. Flew into the Kent County Airport in the spirit of St. Louis.
Wow. On this day, 98 years ago.
Okay. And then I can imagine everything closed. Mm-hmm. And that wouldn't happen today. Who would? I mean, I can't think of a person that would happen to. I mean, if Taylor Swift came to Grand Rapids on the spirit of St. Louis, I don't think that they would close factories down. Wow. Gave a speech at John Ball Park. Wow.
Okay, so this is one I never heard of before. And sometimes when you hear these stories about things that happened in Michigan history, you're just like, what? That happened for real? And this is one of those stories. On this day in 1944, 20 people were convicted in a Michigan corruption scandal. Legislators were bribed for their votes relating to horse racing and auto financing. There were 62 convictions in all, including 23 legislators. And those convictions served, I know, right? So that's a lot of them.
3 to 5 years in prison. Wow.
And the Detroit Free Press got the Pulitzer Prize for the work they did on cracking it. But it goes on. So legislator Warren G. Hooper was one of the people who admitted accepting a bribe. And he was, I believe it was the great-great-grandchild of one of the signers of the U.S. Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. But somehow he was a legacy from one of the founding fathers. He received immunity, and the next day he was set to testify against all the others. He was run off the road and assassinated on the side of the road the night before his testimony.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah, and 3 witnesses committed suicide under suspicious circumstances.
Wow. I was going to say a crooked politician. Well, that's never happened before.
Yeah. So when you hear stories about corruption in politics, my goodness, we've always had it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What a crazy case. Somebody from Michigan State has written a book on this that looks really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There was somebody that said once, was asked why he robbed banks, and he said because that's where the money is. And nowadays, you can rob the federal government, get yourself a bribe or a grant or something, get legislation passed and everything like that. Wow.
Yeah, to be honest, if you go through state legislators, and not to denigrate some of the good work that some of them do, but you read their donor lists, and wow, is it eye-opening.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, interesting. Well, I did not know that either. Wow, you're coming up with all kinds of great stuff tonight.
Do you remember the Major League Baseball strike of 1994?
Yep, I do.
What do you remember about it? I remember it this much.
I remember I didn't have the Cubs to watch and the Tigers to watch.
It lasted.
So I watched the Cubs too.
Yeah, but
Wow.
now that the Pope is a White Sox fan, it's a very tough call, as to your
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls. But we
Yeah.
can root for both. Okay,
Yeah. We can stop
948
playing.
games were canceled in all, and it was the first time the World Series wasn't played since 1904. And it had to do with finances. They wanted to change how pairs were played, salary caps. They thought it would make it more fair and the league more competitive. But the fans were not happy. Attendance dropped 20% in the wake of the strike.
Right, and I think the players saw that, and in the time since, we've been able to work things out.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the interest of both sides to keep the games going. That's an
Mm-hmm.
interesting picture. You see that gigantic American flag?
Mm-hmm. If
Is that
anyone
like
knows what park that is, please put that in the comments.
is that like an all-star game or something like that? Or
I don't know. I found it in Public Images.
oh, okay. I'm there's just so much out there. Um, yeah, wow, that's really interesting. I have all kinds of baseball trivia that's neat. One thing, I think I've mentioned this before. One thing that's only happened one time in all of pro baseball is one player hit two Grand Slam home runs in the same inning, and that
Wow.
is like so hard to do because I mean,
Yeah. That
normally you
you'd
get
even
three
be able
outs
to
and
bat again and have the opportunity again and then have it work out. So who was it?
yeah, isn't that amazing? That's something that's. I mean, there is things that are very rare, like an unassisted triple play. I think there's been 15 or 16 of those or something like that. But wow, two grand slams in one inning.
Do you know
That's
who it was?
crazy. No, I didn't recognize the name, and I couldn't tell if it was. I was busy doing other things too. I didn't write down if it was the majors or if it was a minor league team where that happened, because that could have happened
It
in the minor.
was Fernando Tatis while playing for
That's
the St. Louis Cardinals against the LA Dodgers in 1999
1999, huh? So
in the
recent.
third inning.
Wow,
There you go.
two grand slam home runs. Who was the guy's name again?
Fernando Tatis.
Fernando Tatis or Titus. Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this show over again. I'm being thoroughly entertained by this segment that we're taping today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else you got?
Okay, what else do I have? Okay, here's your trivia for the day. August 12, 1973, this golfer won the PGA. The win broke the record for major championships, beating Bobby Jones's previous record of 13. He would go on to win 18 titles and retired in 2005. His nickname was the Golden Bear.
And that would have been my choice if I just heard 1973, because that was before Tiger Woods, and he was the dominant player at the time. I mean, there were other great players. Gary Player was a great player, and Arnold Palmer, of course, Chichi Rodriguez. There were a lot of just great players back in that time. Yeah, he would go on to win 18 titles, retired in 2005. He's, I think, up in his 80s right now. And wasn't he, I believe, an Ohio State grad?
I
Of
think
course,
so.
you
And the
got the
name
bear up in
Golden
Traverse
Bear,
City.
the Golden Bear thing is not a description. It was his high school mascot.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. Of course, he was blonde haired and pretty muscular. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I worked a couple of Western Open golf tournaments down in Chicago, and I remember being not too far away from him as he parked his car and went into the clubhouse before he started his round.
Hmm.
I hear good things about him. I hear he's a pretty decent guy.
You
So,
still haven't said the name. When you do, I'll advance the
oh,
slide.
Jack Nicklaus.
There
Jack
you go.
Nicklaus. Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah. You can see his characteristic grip there.
And here's something for you to take the grandkids to in Garfield Park tomorrow between 6 to 8 p.m. Kids all the way up to age 18. Free books and ice cream. The event repeats on the 19th and 26th. And it helps to register in advance so that they're sure to have a book for your child.
Wow. Does that mean
Yeah.
meteorologists can get free ice cream too?
Well, I'll send Alex up there, except, yeah,
Wow. That's a
he's
good
aged
deal.
out, so you'll have to find someone.
Well, thank you, City of Grand Rapids, for that. Garfield Park is on the southeast side of Grand Rapids, by the way.
And here's a fun one. Molly Parker got a photo of an eagle on her house.
Wow.
I
That's
know, Environment
we saw
Center.
several eagles on our trip to the Canadian Rockies,
So
and
that got me wondering how many bald eagles there are in Michigan, and there's approximately 900 pairs, and that has grown a lot in the last 20 years. It's more than doubled.
yeah, and they're very tolerant of different kinds of weather. In fact, if there's a significant food source for them, some of them will stick around even when it gets really cold into December and January.
Oh,
So
yeah, 900 pairs of bald eagles. What are the odds of one being on your roof?
yeah, isn't that interesting? They're just kind of scouting around there, checking out the neighborhood, looking
Yeah,
for
so
those
thanks, Molly, for
mice.
putting in that amazing picture.
Yeah, thank you, Molly. Appreciate it.
And we have the Skyline Trail in Ludington State Park, and don't you wish you were there?
Oh, isn't that pretty?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know there was that much elevation up there, but evidently there is. There's dunes up and down the coastline here.
Yeah, and it looks like they've got something for everyone with boardwalk trails and other trails as well.
The trail is half a mile. That's not bad. That's
I did a
easy.
half marathon in Ludington once, presumably on those trails.
Wow. I have the cat next to me. Here, you wanna say hi? There you go. No, I'm leaving. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Now I'm seeing my head again. There I am. Thank you.
Yeah, back to Ludington.
Yeah, I haven't spent much time in Ludington State Park, and I really should. I've only been up there a couple of times.
I had a case once when I was practicing law that brought me there several times. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful place.
You were up in Benzie County,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
assistant
was
or chief
about an hour's
assistant.
drive.
Hmm. Neat.
And
Oh, that's
Sally sends one, a big red.
yeah. That is in the Holland area, and note that would be an east wind, I would think, if that's the channel in front of us there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So an east or probably southeast wind, maybe contributing. Maybe that was the day that contributed to the upwelling that saw the water temperatures drop. And they're all back again. I don't know if I put that back in here. The uh, lake forecast. What do I have? Southwest waves 1 to 2 feet during the day, 2 feet north of Grand Haven, and water temperatures. We got 82 for Reeds Lake. Water temperatures at Lake Michigan were in the low to mid 70s, so good swimming out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you slow the camera down to get a shot like that?
Mm-hmm. And get it focused.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Uh-huh.
Very cool picture.
Mm-hmm.
John,
It's
thanks for
amazing
all.
that it works, that they can fly upright like that.
Yeah, yeah, and of course they got the long snoot there where they can poke into flowers and get that nectar, and they need to eat quite a bit to maintain their metabolism. So
Mm-hmm.
they're one of the first birds to leave here to fly south. So once it gets into September, you'll see the first one starting to head south and look for a warmer place to spend the winter. Yeah, we had 2 to 5 foot waves over in the Muskegon area. John Scully with a picture of that. And, I have a boogie board, and I look at pictures like that and go, oh, wouldn't that be fun in the boogie board? But I'm thinking, well, I'm getting old now, and I probably should behave like I'm old. But I enjoyed the boogie board, and those wavy days at Lake Michigan. But you got to be careful. You got to be real careful. On really wavy days, it'd be a good idea to wear a life jacket. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and there's your
Oh,
summer.
great stuff. Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll have to kind of put a check mark here so we can use some of the stuff again next year. Great. Wow. And I'll be at the airport watching for the Spirit of St. Louis to land and
Mm-hmm.
looking out for corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So just a couple things. Thanks to all our new joiners. We continue to grow our subscribers on YouTube, and we appreciate that. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. And we also have a shop where you can get your Bill Steffen gear. So check that out in the comments as well, and your purchase helps support our show. And if you have anything to send us, as Alex says, be brave and be on the show, bill@billsteffen.com. Send us your pics, anything else of note that you'd like to see in the show. We would love to include it.
And again, for today, a chance of a shower or thunderstorm. There'll probably be a couple lines of those coming through the area. If you need rain, I hope you get it. Have a great day.